Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Back to the City. I'm Simon Calder, and joining me today is Karl Remus in the Duplex, and then the whole band Lucid Vanguard at the Minnehaha Recording Company. Ahead of the release of the new EP at the Hook and Ladder on Friday, March 23rd, you're actually going to be performing 3 songs beyond that EP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
correct.
What is the future of the 3 songs that you'll be performing at the recording company?
Yeah, those 3 songs are part of a bigger project that we are working on.
Mm-hmm.
Probably come out fall 2018, or the first chunks of it. We might split the album up into 4 different portions.
Sure.
We're still figuring that out, but
yeah,
it's part of a bigger work that's coming. And
excellent.
We'll see. And there's still a lot to be determined.
Let's head over to the Minnehaha Recording Company. This is Lucid Vanguard performing Holly, My Harmony.
Are woven in the matriarch, christened by the queen, fortes and fallacies of fabled arts, cast across the sea. Holly, my waving arms are breaking tide and laden on. The days go long, changing color. And angel eyes with mavens of disease. One day I'll break the chains of their disguise and pollinate the sea. Holly, my harmony, our promises are hard to keep. We're taking deep breaths, made in our priestess, waiting for leaves. My harmony, oh, where have you been so long? Well, I've been waiting here, I played into the dawn. Well, I might be wrong if this is all I want, to be sharing days with you inside my Holly, Holly, my harmony. You've been away too long, and I've been waiting here up late into the dawn. Well, I might be wrong if this is all I want, to be sharing days with you inside my arms.
That was Holy My Harmony at the Minnehaha Recording Company. Today we're taking a journey through the new EP, which you shared with me in advance, thank you, and also through these 3 songs. I just recently discovered what Cremblems stands for. Creative Emblems of a Blue Soul Renaissance.
Nice, you cracked the code.
You cracked the codes.
Not many people know that that's where that came from.
The term cry is a Sanskrit term, is that correct?
You cracked the code.
I did crack the code. Eventually I did crack the code. Meaning action, deed, effort. Could you talk about what the Sanskrit root cry means?
Yeah, I'll tell you what that name came from.
Please, yeah.
So, 2010 when I moved to go to school at Berkeley, very briefly, which is where I met Warren, who plays drums in Lucid Vanguard.
And who is the songwriter for WTF?
Yes, he does a lot.
In
He's
the
an
Kremlins
amazing musician. I was out there and I got initiated into a type of meditation called Kriya Yoga. And Kriya Yoga is more so an internal meditative versus like what you'd think with physical types of yoga. And I learned about it through the book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. So that was just a practice that I had, was Kriya. And eventually when cultivating some type of name for a collective or group, I liked using Kriya because it meant like to do, to make, like you were saying, an action or a deed. But like in the essence of God or universe or whatever so be it. And that's what we do with all of our groups, is I think we create music and art with the intention of healing and doing it with a purpose to better the world and our lives and the people around us.
That Sanskrit root relates to the term karma and also to the term Sanskrit, meaning like a well-made language.
Yes.
Yeah? What's the relationship between this term and karma, which becomes an important concept in the record? There's references to karma at the end.
It's true, yeah. You went deep. Yeah. I like this. It's like Nardwar, man.
What is the link to kind of karma and karmic energy?
I mean, karma is everything that we do. I think it's the kind of the cause and effect of our lives that is going on, whether we are conscious of it or not. When I learned about karma, or like started to realize, actions responding to what's happening into your life, and how you're thinking is, what you create in your head. So, I don't know, I think karma is an important thing to keep in mind because it's definitely very real. Yeah. Like
is that as Bailey highlights at the end of the record?
That's Lisa.
It's Lisa.
Lisa.
Oh, it's Lisa.
Yeah, that's Lisa.
Lisa,
she said it best.
Whose light we are using?
That's
actually.
Lisa's light?
This used to be
Yes.
Lisa's light, so I bought it from Lisa. Lisa, who also produced
the Foolish Lover video. Yep.
Yeah, which is playing on the green screen at the moment. At the beginning of the song "Pseudo Spirits," Lisa says, "Karma's definitely real, and beyond karma, just the value of the energy you put out will come back to you."
Yes, I thought she put it perfectly.
Is that like the thesis or the central message of Pseudo Spirits, would you say?
I hadn't thought of it being that, but it definitely could be, for sure.
And why is the record called Pseudo Spirits then?
Pseudo Spirits is a name that I came up with, and I just liked how the words sounded together initially, but then I started putting together like this whole 6-song wave. It's kind of like me flushing out like inner ghosts and like these fake pseudo like spirits inside of me that were like getting in the way of like the real the real me, like kind of exercising these things out of me, and it came out in really kind of abstract ways.
Yes.
So
it's interesting how
it's weird.
Yeah, it comes out in abstract ways, but there's a lot of physical imagery. For example, the 2 tracks before Pseudo Spirits are Cosmic Sea and Landslide. So we have ocean imagery, and we have the imagery of a landslide to help convey this
Yeah.
spiritual journey.
Yeah, those two together stand out to me in the sense because Cosmic Sea is like, whenever I play that song or sing it, and I feel like I'm just like floating in space, like just like nothingness, and it's just way up in the ether and astral plane kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Landslide is a descent, literally just like the plight of like being a human being on planet Earth and like what that entails, and it can be a burden, you know.
Stuck inside of mankind is
stuck inside of mankind when
Yeah.
you're feeling like you're bigger than that, when you feel like, you know, this doesn't feel like all that I am.
So the record seems to be like a buildings romance. Like, is it fair to say where there's the story of a particular being endeavoring to free themselves from this, these distractions, these things that get in the way of realizing who one really is and what, and being in touch with reality.
Yeah, it turned into that for sure, because it's like the first track, Prelude, obviously indicates like, if you'd seen the music video too, have you seen?
We are currently seeing it. So there is an owl. Is that correct? Some kind of bird?
So that video is like symbolizing like maybe what Earth was like, or like any type of planet is like before humankind is there, mankind is there. So it's kind of like representing like the untouched planet, and that's just plant life and animal life, and you know, maybe how that sounded perhaps with that song, because there's no vocals or anything on it. So it's like, that was kind of the idea behind that.
Because there's no humans.
No humans at all.
There's a ritualistic feel to it, and there is there chanting?
Me and Bailey sang some just like big like booming vocals on it.
Yeah.
But there's no words, which was kind of the point, to do an instrumental thing.
Yeah. Did you know that would be the opening track to the record?
Yes, because so the record came to be, I bought an 8-track digital recorder. I had just bought some new pedals, and there was like 2 or 3 very specific sounds within these pedals that I really, really was attached to, and they all had this like kind of ghostly sound to it, which also attributed to the name PSEUDO SPIRITS. So this was like one of the first things that I had made up when I had started working with that rig, and all the other ones kind of came in sequence. So it kind of unraveled itself like really quickly in the writing process, and then all the production and recording just like came a little bit later on. But
the second song is called Lord, and so we have Prelude with a T at the end.
Yeah, that's just for kicks. T, it doesn't really mean anything.
Did Prelude end up being called Prelude post
Yes.
Lord? Yep.
Because it was the song that we played before Lord.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, like, this happens to me a lot in songwriting, is that I'll write these words, I'll do whatever, I'll create it because it like feels a certain way, and I won't necessarily know what it means. And then I'll figure it out like a year later, like, whoa, that's what I was writing. Like, that's what it means now. It's like almost like writing yourself letters in the future, and then you like unlock them later on. That happens all the time. I talked to Warren and Bailey about that, and other people too. It's like, it's so strange how that happens.
So what does Lord mean for you now?
That song is kind of just like a play on how disruptive Christianity in general has been to planet Earth.
Oh, interesting. So humans and Christianity.
Right now, it's kind of like a little bit of a satire on that, how people have abused the power of a religion and taken away the initial intent of it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the idea behind that.
Lyrically, Lord, it's all over now, is interestingly the first lyric on the record. It's all over now. And especially interesting now that you're clarifying that this song, you know, when we transition from track 1 to track 2, it's like the arrival of humans on the scene and the arrival of Christianity on the scene.
Yep.
Why, given that it's kind of like the Genesis narrative, why does it begin with a reference to the end, to things being over?
Because it's the end of
the peace.
Yeah, the calm.
The prelude.
The beauty that was there, it's now tainted.
Yeah.
The virginity is gone, you might say, in that way. I believe humans are obviously like part of the cycle, no doubt about that. but that type of peace and calmness.
The peace of this owl who
the harmony of it.
Yeah.
It no longer will exist in that manner.
You know, when the keys come in, what's the relationship here between the physical world, the reference to the rain and the storm, and the human scene where there's wars and mansions? And how is this coming through sonically? What are you conveying beyond the lyrics about the human species in relation to the rest of nature?
The first verse is like the mansion coming down. I always imagined it like a mansion burning down, and like that was the end, like whatever side of the battle had won. And the rain coming in the second verse was like cooling it off and simmering it out again. That song is like, it's 2 chords, and it literally goes dun 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 dun. So it's like this really like back and forth, and it kind of feels like you're in like a weird like factory almost. I don't know, I have not really looked into these lyrics like super deep. You've probably gone further than I have, to be honest, and it's pretty interesting hearing what you're saying about it, because it's uncovering deeper meanings than I initially ever intended, which is really cool.
Excellent. Yeah. It's
so thank you for teaching about my own song.
Thank you for writing the songs. I find the sequencing really interesting now, given that it ends with Lisa's philosophical reflections about karma. It begins with the pre-human scene, and then the second song, Lord, is almost like ironically titled, because here we are lording over nature.
Yes.
That's
trying to play
it's certainly
God.
not a good thing. You said it's not.
Yeah, not in the sense that I'm approaching it in.
Yeah.
As far as just like people abusing the power of religion.
It's interesting that there is a focus on spirituality throughout.
Absolutely.
There, of course, like that's the central focus on spirituality. What does the record have to say about religion, faith, spirituality? How does it distinguish a positive alternative to the destructive type of religion that is explored in previous?
I think it balances itself out throughout the rest of the songs, because they kind of cover different regions of kind of spirituality and just what we go through in our lifetime. The third track, Foolish Lover, that's more of a focus on like a romantic relationship between somebody and like that type of love.
The record is looking at 2 different types of love, it seems to me. An obsessive type of love, which is a foolish love, perhaps. But then this love that one finds oneself ruminating about in the conversation about karma. What type of love is being discussed in the song PSEUDO SPIRITS, and how does it differ from the foolish love?
I think it's just offering the other side of the perspective in love, is that it's like, it's such a beautiful thing. It's probably one of the greatest things that you can feel. But at the same time, it's the most devastating thing. It like contains like the most potent emotional capacity that I've ever experienced, for sure. It's just wild to me how far it can oscillate between spectrums, you know?
So this best kind of love can alert us to the fact that we are not the one out in space, that we are not the sole author of our story.
I think the best type of love is 2 people looking at each other and seeing a reflection and learning how to evolve and grow. Blue Soul Renaissance to me is like all of like humanity like really aching and feeling like blue and hurting, and thus creating art or whatever type of expression as a renaissance to help come out of that and evolve out of that. So the name kind of sprouted as like creative emblems being like acts and representations of our aching soul or whatnot to evolve.
We've been going on a journey through the new EP. and in the second half of the episode we'll be talking about the 3 songs that you performed at the Minnehaha Recording Company. Here we are at the center of the episode, about to return to a song which is about a journey or avoiding a journey. Don't Move to LA.
Yes.
And it's got a really interesting trajectory, this one. So I'm looking forward to talking through it.
Sure.
And the other 2 songs after the performance, which is going to happen right now at the Minnehaha Recording Company. This is Lucid Vanguard performing Don't Move to LA.
Don't move to LA. I know I'm too high too soon. I love the cliche, I'm a sucker for a rising moon. And if you run away, well, maybe I will too. And find a quiet place, hidden in the hills of Malibu. Don't move to LA. Our timing's like a ripened fruit. There ain't no sweeter taste than that first bite of you. Whichever come or may, you'll say goodbye too soon. But I'll catch you at your gate and persuade you not to move. Found yourself a life to prove. Made the great escape, jump into a highbrow view. Wish you would have stayed in our little town for 2. But I'll be on my way as soon as the hourglass.
Welcome back. That was Don't Move to LA, and there are some really interesting affinities between these 3 new songs, I think. There's a recurring focus on pollinating the seed. Pollinating the seed is a phrase from Holly My Harmony, but then also in Twin Peaks, which is the song with which we'll close today's episode, your pollen was strong, I caught a late seed, as well. So that's a new focus. What's the significance of that recurring imagery in this new songs?
I didn't realize I did it in both songs. You got me. Nice.
What's the significance of pollination? Again, it seems, the way in which humans do relate to the pre-Lord context. There's the seasons, and we can be not out of sync. We're not always out of sync with the rest of nature. The idea of pollinating the seed.
It's just like, to me, I think I used it in the context of like creating a new life for yourself, or like a new perspective, and just opening yourself up to a fresh perspective. Really.
Yeah, the lyric in Don't Move to LA that I think relates to those two pollinating lyrics is, our timing's like a ripened fruit.
Oh yeah.
So in all
only
three
perfect for just that small amount of time.
These moments of fleeting beauty.
Yeah. I think we try to cling on to the fleeting beauty is the thing. And that's what is the root of a lot of our problems, is that we get these bursts of happiness and we try to break down what created, and we think we cook up a recipe or like dial it in, like, okay, I did exactly this and this and this to create this type of happiness, almost like you're a chemist.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work after a certain point.
And
you know?
This Don't Move to LA is a song about not wanting something to change. So
yeah, there's a couple different sides to the story on it. That song came to be when I met somebody, and we had an extremely like cool interaction for the first time, and they told me they were going to move to LA, and I went home and wrote a poem that was called Don't Move to LA, because I didn't want them to go. Some of them, and then I turned into a song. The perspective that I'm singing from in the song is like the person trying to like hold them down almost, and like be a person that, because that's definitely happened in relationships where it's like one side or the other like is growing more than the other one.
Yeah, we can be.
The other one tries to hold them down at their level instead of like trying to evolve with them because they're afraid to face what's inside of them or what they have to go through to, you know, trying to avoid pain or whatever it is.
Even those who we love, we can end up being that which is opposed to the creative endeavor and to the Renaissance.
Absolutely, I think like you can be your partner's like biggest shoulder devil at times, like, and not even know it. That's the crazy thing. So you can be like somebody's best friend or greatest lover, but really be holding them down or hurting them and not even know it, and that's pretty intense. I think it's hard to like realize that when you're being that person and like really understand that.
It's fascinating, I think, how these songs are healing and cathartic, and we began by talking about the healing nature of music. But at the same time, there's some difficult stuff that we're being confronted with. Would you say? And is that intentional, and how does that relate to the healing process?
Yeah, I think heartbreak has probably been one of the most shaping factors or experiences in my life. Yeah. And it's been like the hardest experiences, but also it spawned like the greatest moments of growth in my life. Yeah. So it's like, we talked about that earlier, how it's like love gives you the worst devastation you'll ever feel, but the greatest inspiration and ability to grow and new opportunity for life.
It can give one the feeling of things being perfect and safe and peaceful and of everything coming together and being in the right place.
And ultimately, I think a lot of this is just about falling in love with yourself and learning to accepting who you are and being comfortable.
A true love and care for self.
Absolutely. Not necessarily just giving it to somebody else. You really can't love other people until you really love yourself.
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
That is the truth.
Cliched, but cliches are a cliche for a reason.
Something that came up in the conversation with Lisa at the beginning of PSEUDO SPIRITS is an emphasis on a physicalized version of spirituality.
It's like spiritual matters seem to be existing beyond us, but she put it really well when it's like, when you are in a relationship with someone specifically and having a connection, like that is definitely something very spiritual happening, because it's like love going back and forth, or like whatever, just moving in a cycle between the two people. So it's and making music too, like I was saying, like to outwardly be projecting that and then giving out your emotions and this making people feel it. It's like, I think some of the coolest things ever is like when we're playing shows and we'll talk to people after and be like, man, I cried, or like I felt this, or like hearing how people reacted. It's like, that is the coolest thing to me, and like it fulfills me, like hearing that, because it's like we really just took, like, you write a song based on perhaps like an experience that happened to you, like a heartbreak, say. You write the song, it's very therapeutic for you, thus you help yourself. You perform the song, somebody else benefits from it, say they cry, like it helped them release emotionally. So it's really interesting to me, like I think musicians are healers, artists are healers, and that's kind of how I approach music, is like obviously to help myself heal, but when I can finally give it back to people at shows or through recording records, that's super important. And that's definitely like a physicalized version of spirituality, is like I can create a song, bring it to my friends, we do it together, which makes it even more special, and then like literally put it onto like a CD or vinyl or whatever, and that can cause emotional reactions to somebody. So it's like a chunk of something physical is stamped with like what you created, somebody else puts it on, and it evokes like something non-physical inside of them.
This final song, Twin Peaks, again seems to be evoking a particular natural environment in a quite a similar way to how Prelude is at the beginning of our journey.
Definitely.
What's happening in this song? Why is it called Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks
to begin with.
It got the name from because I was very inspired by the show.
Okay.
I fell in love with that show this fall and just binge watched it.
What is the relationship between the show and the song?
It was interesting. Like I was watching that show and there was just a lot of parallels going on
with your life,
with my life, and what was going on in the show, and it was like getting really weird in ways that I don't even like know how to explain. And that's like how that show is. It's just like so weird that you can't like figure out, how do I feel about this, you know, type of thing. And we'd been playing this song before it was named that, and it didn't have a name, and it felt like certain aspects of the song sonically and lyrically at points like kind of lined up with like what the essence of the TV show Twin Peaks is into. It's very like a surreal song too, like whole David Lynch kind of vibe to it, where it's just like really like dark and nasty and aggressive at times, but other times just like very delicate and beautiful. And I think David Lynch does a really good job of exposing like the really devastating horrific nature and then balancing it out.
There's a focus on weaving again.
Weaving, I like to weave.
My dreams away from back in holding my harmony, and then here they're moving fast, fused in charge, weaving tracks through tempting gardens. Who is doing this, and what is the significance of that?
It's me and Bailey have an inside joke about the lambs being the characters. But I guess lamb just representing us, anybody.
We are the lambs.
Going through the life, but weaving, kind of navigating through like things that are very tempting to you. But sometimes having the ability to abstain from it, other times not, you know.
In the garden, so those temptations, I'm thinking of the Garden of Eden.
Kind of that vibe going on, of just like, I tried it once, I've never tried that, I know that one's bad for me, what door could this open? You know, kind of navigating through that. And then another line after that, like testing waters. I really like that line. I was just like, so the line is a few hang back, testing waters. So like a couple individuals that hung back from the pack, that were moving in kind of a herd mentality, and tried different waters for themselves.
And they lose the pack, therefore, in the next lyric.
They attempted like to do something new on their own, or checked out a different path.
It's interesting that that's what's happening within this narrative, and then of course you have a pack. You have the Kremlin's pack.
Yeah.
And this is the one song of the three performed in the Minnehaha Recording Company where Bailey is singing as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting thinking about the interwoven vocals.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like something similar to what's going on in the music video for Foolish Lover, where they're visually something wonderful about there being more than one, about not being the one out in space is being dramatized visually. And I think even just the way in which the two vocals interrelate in this final performance seems to be within that, teaching the same thing to some extent.
That is a good point, like how those two melody lines are harmonizing with each other, and they're it's kind of a weird harmony too. Like it always feels a little bit tense at certain points and never like spot on, which is kind of
that David
it makes
Lynch sense of
like
something
it
isn't quite
meshes with how like a relationship is too. So it's cool that the relationships of our voices in that song are like sound really beautiful at times, but other times the harmonies are a little bit more tense and clash.
Yeah.
So and it's the song being called Twin Peaks too. It's like obviously the two moving together, but it's totally a monster in its own because we don't play any of these songs from the EP live. We did it once.
Will you at the EP release show, do you think?
I don't think so.
Which
is interesting. They just, I don't know. I'm past them as far as like playing them.
We've wiped the slate clean.
Perhaps, yeah.
These are the songs that you're playing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, some of these songs that we're recording now for the next project have been around for quite a while. So it's like trying to get those out now.
You're catching up with yourself.
They're they gotta go.
Yeah.
They're getting evicted, so can't deal with them anymore.
Nice. Well, thank you for coming into the studio and
my
exercising
pleasure.
these three songs, and for joining me for this conversation today.
Thank you for your insight, because you definitely brought up ideas or concepts inside of the lyrics or narratives that I had not thought of. So it's been an enlightening experience, actually. It's cool to hear somebody else like actually break it down.
Well, which dramatizes the truth of the record again. In the song PSEUDO SPIRITS, you really got to know that there's more than one. Like often we learn things about ourselves through interaction with someone else.
Precisely.
That's a recurring focus in all the songs. So it's nice that that's been happening today too.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to hearing other songs and the songs that we've been discussing today at the record release show on Friday, March 23rd. And then the following week, you'll be performing at the first ever Back to the City Showcase.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
Tony the Scribe.
Tony the Scribe.
Good friend.
Who you'll be performing with, perhaps.
Perhaps. The only way you can find out is by coming and checking it out.
On Thursday, the 29th of March, with not only Tony the Scribe, but also Weta and Straya.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Back to the City Showcase #1. Two great opportunities to see Lucid Vanguard in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Let's close by returning one last time to the Minnehaha Recording Company. This is Lucid Vanguard performing Twin Peaks.
Along the coastal ivy, the sun is soaking my sweet rest. Will I still float in high seas, or dip below and hold my breath? conscious death.